Watch for the code word Monday at 8 a.m.
Now at 7, the desperate search for Nancy Guthrie enters its third weekend as the local sheriff reveals new information about DNA found at the scene.
A federal officer injured during a clash with students outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. We have the latest.
Mayor Bass already facing accusations. She directed the watering down of the Palisades Fire After Action report. What new emails reveal about her role in the fire response? Now on the news at 7. Good evening. I'm Micah Ullman.
And down Mary Beth McDade Share has this Friday evening off. Well, detectives are now testing DNA found during the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie.
The Arizona sheriff says his office has turned over that DNA to a special lab, hoping for answers into who may have taken the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie. Chris Wolf live in the News Center with more on the evidence discovered and the growing reward for information. Chris.
That's absolutely right, Micah. Mary Beth, authorities in Arizona have DNA that could break this case open, but scientists still have to find.
This sounds like this could be a significant lead.
Well, we found DNA and we eliminated some people, yes. It's significant when we find somebody that certainly matches that. Right now, a lot of significant leads we're working. I think that video was very key to us.
The Pima County Arizona Sheriff talks with News Nation about the latest developments in the desperate round the closet 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie.
We people keep calling us things, and because that's what's going to solve this case.
You've run that DNA against CODIS, which is the database for crimes, and did not find a match.
I don't know where they're at. We have no match.
In chilling camera footage, a man in a ski mask and windbreaker, apparently armed with a gun, disconnects that camera from the front door of Nancy Guthrie's Tucson, Arizona home shortly before 2 a.m. on Sunday, February 1st. Her bloodstains were discovered in that location hours later after family members reported her missing. Now, the sheriff is blasting reports of friction between his department and the FBI, with sources suggest some kind of power play in dealing with evidence. He tells various news organs not true. The FBI is now offering $100,000 for critical information in this case. Reports say agents are using facial recognition technology with that doorbell camera footage. We'll have much more coming up tonight. For now, reporting live on News Center, I'm Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
Thank you. To developing news from downtown L.A., where students held a walkout against federal immigration enforcement actions. A federal officer was injured when the crowd turned violent. Sky 5 captured the demonstrators clashing outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. Protesters breached the sidewalk. They pushed onto federal property, throwing objects before ultimately retreating.
City Councilwoman Tracy Park has become the first candidate citywide to officially qualify for the June 2nd ballot. Park's campaign submitted some 1,600 voter signatures to the city clerk's office, more than the 1,000 needed to qualify. Those signatures still need to be verified. Park was first elected in 2022, representing a district that includes Venice, Pacific Palisades, and Mar Vista.
A Burbank home sells for over $1 million, but the homeowner says it so without his knowledge. Now 3 suspects have been arrested for real estate fraud, and investigators are searching for a fourth. The $1 million scheme unfolded in 2023 and 2024 when authorities say the suspects stole the identities of the person who actually owned the home along with a fake buyer, then falsified a number of documents to secure a $900 bank loan. If convicted, each of the 3 suspects could face up to 30 years in prison.
After 21 years in the NBA, Chris Paul is calling it a career. The 12-time NBA All-Star announcing his retirement this morning on Instagram, thanking fans and saying it's time for me to show up for others. Paul was drafted to the Hornets in 2005, and he'd go on to play for 8 teams, including 2 stints at our LA Clippers from 2011 to 2017, and again in 2025 with a 1-year, $3.6 million contract.
And basketball fans welcoming the NBA's premier season back to LA this weekend, and it all kicks off tonight with a celebrity game at the Kia Forum. Intuit Dome will host the slam dunk contest, the three-point shootout, and more tomorrow before the All-Star Games Sunday.
Oh yeah, just so much excitement in the air. Alina Abovian has more on how fans can experience it all.
Well, it's official. NBA All-Star Weekend is here in LA, and this city, well, we're celebrating in a really big way, from block parties to immersive, one-of-a-kind experiences. Take a look.
I feel like this year is the biggest All-Star I've ever seen. In LA. Yeah, in LA.
Basketball fans aren't just watching All-Star Weekend this year, they're experiencing it in a whole new way. At the Cosm in Hollywood Park, the action is playing out on an 87-foot shared reality screen inside what they call the Dome, creating an immersive experience that makes fans feel like they're right on the court.
It's a basketball city, been a basketball city forever. We're in the city of champions, Inglewood, so it's good that it's coming home.
I think it's a great way to reward the fans who want to come to the game but maybe can't afford it.
The towering display featuring a mic'd-up celebrity matchup and live basketball moments blown up. And keeping the energy going, NBA 2K is hosting a celebrity game watch party here, blending sports, gaming, entertainment, and fan culture into one shared experience. And in a city known for entertainment innovation, experiences like this are pushing the boundaries of how sports are consumed, even for the littlest fans.
I'm trying to beat him, but I can't. Your dad?
Now, of course, all these events are leading up to the big event on Sunday, the NBA All-Star Game happening at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. I'm Lena Bowman reporting KTLA 5 News.
In the race to succeed Governor Newsom, new polling paid for by labor union American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees shows a tight race at the top. Republicans Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton with 16% and 15% respectively, followed closely behind by Eric Swalwell and Katie Porter. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan in a distant 6th place with 3%. The union's leader, John Tucker, telling Politico the goal of the poll was to illustrate that Mahan lacks a clear path to the governor's office.
Mahan struggling in that poll, but today he received support from a major voice in L.A.
I'm really lucky to be here in L.A. today with someone I think you're going to hear a lot more about. He's brimming with innovative ideas to deliver solutions without getting sidetracked by partisan nonsense.
Businessman Rick Caruso, who himself opted against a run for governor, called Mahan the only proven candidate in this race, saying while others debate Mahan delivered results using practical common sense solutions.
Mayor Karen Bass touting the citywide adaptive reuse ordinance, which went into effect early this month, loosening conversion rules, allowing commercial buildings just 15 years old to become housing with streamlined the approval instead of a lengthy review. The mayor says the move unlocks thousands of new units in empty commercial spaces. The LA Times reports there are more than 50 million square feet of empty office space in Los Angeles.
Last week, you may recall, a bombshell report in the LA Times alleged that Karen Bass directly ordered the watering down of the Palisades Fire After Action report.
Today, a new report suggests the mayor was also the ultimate authority on media strategy, press inquiries, and damage control. That piece, the latest from LA Times staff writer Aline Chekmedian.
And Aline now joins us with more on this new report. So, Aline, first of all, just great reporting. And, you know, this email that you reviewed between LAFD Captain Eric Scott and the Bass aide was sent on October 9th. Can you just explain the context of that timing? It was a busy few days, I know, in the fire response. What did you learn from that email?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we reviewed these new emails today, kind of showing, or this week, about the city's damage control efforts. This was in the days after the public learned what caused the Palisades fire. A few months ago, this was in October, federal officials determined that and announced publicly that the Palisades fire was caused by the rekindling of an arson fire that happened a few days earlier. So after that, the LAFD was getting a lot of questions about how and why they didn't fully extinguish the smaller earlier fire, and that it was able to rekindle a few days later with the heavy winds that came. We were able to review these emails that kind of revealed more about what was going on behind the scenes at the time. So LAFD was looking to Mayor Bass for guidance on whether the fire chief should continue to do interviews after that first day, which was also the day that they put out the after action report that you mentioned earlier. And whether they should hold a press conference. There were some concerns about a press conference inviting tough questions. And so, these new details about Mayor Bass's role for the rollout of the after action report is coming out right after, our report last week, which the mayor denied that she had a hand in other decisions about the after action report, specifically the changes that were made that downplayed the city's failures.
So, Aline, the mayor's office says this is essentially standard practice, the mayor involved with decision-making for all city departments. Is that your sense here?
Yeah, the mayor said that, it's involved in every city department for issues big and small, so that, of course, she was involved in the rollout of the after-action report. She had several meetings with the LAFD about it, she said. The emails also that we reviewed also show that she was having meetings about the after action report back in July before it was even completed.
And Aline, the mayor herself responding to your report this week on the after action report and calling your reporting misinformation and questioning your use of anonymous sources. So what is your response to that and her calling your piece last week misinformation?
We spoke with those that had talked with the mayor's confidants about what happened during that time, and they said that the mayor reviewed an early draft of the after action report and was concerned about it because of the potential for legal liability. We reported that these sources said that Mayor Bass wanted some of the top line removed or softened, and we reviewed multiple drafts of reports that we got a few months ago through a public records request, and we found out that that's what ended up happening. We analyzed all the reports and were able to determine that.
So where does your reporting on the fire go next, Aline?
So we have some other reporting. I can't say much, but we will have more stories about this, so stay tuned.
The work continues, and it's great work you're doing. Aline Chekmedi, an investigative reporter at the Los Angeles Times. Thank you for your reporting and your insights for us on the air tonight.
Thanks for having me on.
Much more still ahead on the news at 7.
Yeah, the clock is ticking. Just 100.